About 5 or 6 years ago, I started reading spiritual self-help and personal development books, and in the meantime, in that space, I've read probably hundreds of spiritual self-help and personal development books, and out of the hundreds of those books I have read, these are 7 of my favorite. The ones that have helped me the most, resonated with me the most, especially at the time I read them, and that I hope will help you become the person that you desire to become. So, to be completely transparent, we are not going to go in super depth of these books today. There are 1 or 2, or maybe even all of them that you'd love me to go into more depth and to do a complete book review. I will happily do that. But for today, we're just going to be covering the main concepts and the main takeaways and innate wisdom that I have remembered as a byproduct of reading that book. So, without further ado, let's get into the 7 favorite books I have ever read, starting with number 1, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This is probably the best book I've ever read. It is wisdom. It doesn't even have wisdom. It is wisdom. And if you see me looking down at my notes, I just have some notes about the books and some things I want to make sure I say. So with The Power of Now, the main concept that it's not even learned, it's remembered. I've really recognized the difference between intelligence and wisdom. Intelligence, or I'll say knowledge, is something that we build on, and wisdom is something that we have. So this book really brought out the wisdom within me because it has wisdom in it. So the wisdom I remembered from this book was about bringing my awareness from my head and getting lost in the thoughts that are going through the mind in my head into my heart and into the infinite, eternal now. The only thing that can exist is right here, right now. Not some place in the past or some place in the future. That's all just a concept, an imaginary thought in our head. Even the future, that happens in the now. And the past also happens in the now. And that really woke me up. The other concept in the book that I really, really deeply resonated with is fully accepting. The only suffering that can happen is when we are in resistance to what's happening in the moment. When we say it should be this way, or it should look that way, or I should have this by now, that's resistance. Rather, just by accepting the moment fully as it is, even if we accept that we don't want to accept or we can't accept, that is still accepting. That to me really woke me up and helped me connect with the heart I have and I am and get out of my mind. All right, book number 2, The Overstory. This is, I believe, by Richard Powers. It is such an amazing, amazing book. And the main concept I took from this book is that life is not about me. It is about so much more. Essentially, for me, life is about taking care of nature and being stewards of the earth and helping people develop into who they really are, while I develop into who I really am. Another concept I took from this book, and it's actually not from this book, but I related it to this book, is the poem by Dylan Thomas, Do Not Go Gentle into That Dark Night, Rage Against the Dying of the Light. This book is, to not spoil it, but it's a little sad. It's a very humanitarian and slightly environmentalist book, and there's some sad moments in it. Really, really fucking sad moments, and I believe I cried at least once, if not a couple times, while I was reading this book because it's just fucking sad. It's really empowering, but it's also really fucking sad. And when I was reading this book, I really learned I got to take a stand for what I believe in and be uncompromising about it. All right, we're gonna stop that there. Let's go on to book number 3, Tough, by Terry Crews. It's his autobiography or memoir. I believe they're the same thing pretty much. This was one of the most awakening books I have read within about the last year, because I had an image of who Terry Crews is. And if you don't know who he is, he's an actor. He's so much. He's an actor. He's an entrepreneur, a business owner. Well, entrepreneur. The list goes on and on. He's done a variety. I think he was in the NFL. He's done a variety of things. And the main concept I took from this book is that you are not alone. This man, this big, strong, like actually physically fit, strong, and very financially well off and famous man that I have looked up to for so long, while I used to put people on pedestals, was dealing with so much shame, so much arrogance, so much financial stress. And to see him lay it all out and tell me, not from step 5, but from step 0, how he got from where he was struggling to where he is now, was so helpful. And I saw all the shit that he was dealing with. Like, he gets into a lot of detail about his financial arrogance, about his struggle with pornography, and how he cheated on his wife, so much. And to see that vulnerability from another man, a very successful man, and most importantly, how he got through it, really helped me feel capable and more open to being vulnerable with myself, honest with myself, and vulnerable and honest with other people. Hope it can do the same for you. All right, let's get into book number 4. Oh, I love this book, The Soft Addiction Solution. In one sentence, I'm going to ask you a question that can almost summarize the book, but it's still so much more than this. What do you hunger for? Not what do you want, not what do you need, like food, shelter, and water. Not what do you want, like a Rolex or vacations or more money. But what do you hunger for? What does your soul hunger for? See, soft addictions come when we mistake our wants with hungers and we try to fulfill our hungers with surface level wants. Essentially, bad habits or these soft addictions that we become addicted to. Nothing hard like alcohol or drugs, but soft things like maybe watching movies every night, or complaining, or window shopping, or shopping when you feel stressed, or overeating, or there's so many. This book has a full 2 pages of just lists of soft addictions, and there's way more than that. And this book also has a full 8 to 12, somewhere within that range, of chapters at the end of the book dedicated primarily just to exercises. It's a very enlightening and action-filled book full of exercises. This book really helped me break through overthinking. Essentially, when I read this book, I realized I was wasting about 5 hours, I believe, a week overthinking, about 30 minutes a day, which means 160 hours a year. Which, if I value my time at $500 an hour, side note, that's what a millionaire does, that means I'm wasting $76,000 a year just on one soft addiction, which is overthinking. And seeing that laid so plainly, in plain terms, out in front of me, really woke me up. Just to overthinking. So it has really helped me become aware and be honest with myself of my soft addictions, and of course change those and fulfill my deeper hungers, which I partially became aware of by reading the Overstory. So the soft addiction solution and the Overstory, in my opinion, go great hand in hand. Starting with the Overstory and then soft addiction solution. All right, let's go into book number 5, another biography, Grant, by Ron Chernow, if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. He's the guy who wrote Washington and famously wrote Hamilton, which became the basis of the Hamilton movie on Broadway. So Grant, wow. Ulysses S. Grant, actually his real name is Ulysses Grant, but eventually there was like a screw up with his name and he just kind of said, all right, everyone's calling me Ulysses S. Grant, why not go by it? Because the actual name is Ulysses Grant, a little fun fact I learned from the book. This book really showed me, alongside with Terry Crews's Tough, how humble a leader and an amazing man could be and actually was. Ulysses S. Grant was one of the most humble leaders, if not the, probably, one of the top 3 humble leaders, or maybe top 5 humble leaders I've ever come across. In reading about it, just like Tough, in so much detail, and seeing what he struggled with. Like, he was an alcoholic. Don't like labeling people as that. He struggled with alcoholism a lot. He overcame it and then relapsed back into it. Overcame it, relapsed back into it. And no one knows this, or very few people know this about him. But seeing that and how he was fucking criticized so strongly by the media at the time for it is crazy. Because I looked up to this guy, and as I rightfully think anyone should, I mean, like, I'm not going to go into details about it, but seeing all of what he struggled with and how good of a leader he was and how humble of a leader he was and how well respected he was for treating people right was so beautiful, and how he managed to keep his dignity the entire time and be a man of integrity even if you're not a man watching this, great read. Amazing, fascinating read. All right, let's go into book number 6, a pretty spiritual book, the Book of Mastery. Now, I'm actually going to encourage you to look up on YouTube Paul Selig. So I'm still not sure if I'm saying his last name correctly. So it's Selig. And to just watch a video for 2 minutes and you will be fucking mind blown. Essentially, there is a collective called the Guides who channel through him. Paul Selig is a channeler. And it's so fucking cool. And it was awakening for me to see this because I didn't even realize, I did not believe in it. I just wasn't aware that it existed. How deeply or strongly someone could channel a different collective. To watch this guy do this is the real deal. He is the real deal. And his book is essentially the guides coming through him speaking it out, and a scribe essentially writing it down, the words they say. One of the main concepts I got from this book is to let go of our expectations. We sell our happiness so much. Like we say, oh, because it's not the exact way I want it to be, I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be upset. I'm not going to be happy about it because my ego has a perfect image of the world and it just has to be this way because I'm always right. And obviously that's not true, but to see that from the guides, I felt so called out. Like, so fucking called out. And the second concept, I don't like calling these concepts. The second truth, actually there's 3 truths. The second truth I got from the book, this saying the word truth just reminded me about this, was that something can only be true if it was, is, and always will be true. That's what makes it truth. And so many things that we call true are not really true. They're just temporarily appearing true. That to me was a big realization. And then the third part, what is a truth, is that you are here. That is who you are. And I don't know how to say it in different words, and I'm taking this as what the guide said. They said, your identity is you are here. Now you can try to say, you are fun, you are loud, you are wise, you are intelligent, you are this. Who you really are is here, now. So if we take who you are from this book, the Book of Mastery, and add it, essentially, mix it with the power of now, you are here, right now. You are here now. That's exactly who you are. You can't do anything else. You are here, existing in and as this eternal, infinite being now. All right, lastly, book number 7, probably a book you've heard of. It's a very mainstream book and, of course, one of my favorite books. I've read this book probably 10 to 15 times, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Cried many times when I read it. Essentially, it's a book about a boy named Santiago who goes and follows his dreams. He trusts his intuition, he trusts the signs, he trusts wisdom. He is able to discern between wisdom and, not false wisdom and bullshit, essentially. And also understand that each journey is filled with obstacles and that those obstacles are designed for us to grow and not to shrink. One of the things that I really, really resonated with in this book is that, I'm not going to spoil it here, but the final obstacle he has is the greatest of them all. So what that actually means in practice is that when you're about to do something, not always, but sometimes, when you're about to do something, or when you feel like you've grown so much, sometimes you may be thrown one last obstacle to test your resolution and your commitment to whatever it is you committed to. When that obstacle presents itself, like literally for me, I was set to do something this morning, perfect. Like, I've been working my way up to it for weeks. A tiny little obstacle came up, but it felt like huge. When that obstacle presents itself, remember who you are, remember what you've accomplished, remember what you're capable of, and fucking go right through it, my friend. That's it for the video. These are the 7 books, 7 of my favorite books. I've read a lot of books. There are many other favorites, but these are 7 of my favorite books I've ever read and may even will ever read. If you would like to know where to start, I have 2 recommendations for you. Number 1 is whatever resonated with you most in this book or piqued your inward curiosity, your inner curiosity the most, follow that. And secondly, we have a book club here. So if you go into the description, there is a website that you can click on, and it's our book club. We'll be reading a book every month and so much more, but as I just said, I'll let you discover the rest. And in the meantime, have an amazing rest of your day, my friend. I love you, I appreciate you, I believe in you, and I'm here with you, rooting for you. Continue to be unexpected and have an amazing rest of your day. Peace.